this.
Part of me wants to ask why you care so much.
여러분들은 어떠세요? 이 영상을 보시는 분들 중엔 초중고학생, 대학생도 있겠고 그 아이를 가진 학부모님도 있으시겠죠? 왜 이 젠더 이념이나 이들의 활동에 대해 상관하시는 건가요? 꼭 이 질문에 대답을 할 수 있으셔야 합니다. 그런데 사실 답은 너무 간단하죠.
American political commentator and podcaster Matt Walsh has passed away in his Tennessee home. Further details have yet to be determined. That's their words, committing genocide against trans people. And of course I deserve to die. They say I've committed genocide with a documentary.
구독과 좋아요, 알람 설정 눌러주시면 큰 힘이 됩니다.
Anyone who's ever poked the gender ideology beehive knows that trans activists are uniquely vicious and feel especially entitled to say and do whatever they want.
주류 매체에서도 왕성하게 활동했던 메건 켈리라는 방송인이 이번 다큐멘터리를 보면서 매트 월시와 리뷰하는 모습입니다. 처음 소개드릴 장면은 젠더 어사이먼트 서전이라는 새로운 직업 용어를 가진 사람이 등장하는데요. 쉽게 말해 성전환 수술해주는 외과 의사라는 거겠죠. 본인도 남자인데 여자 외관을 하고 있는 트랜스젠더입니다. 성전환 수술의 부조리를 얘기하는데 이분의 진지한 부조리를 한번 보시죠.
I don't know if you've ever heard of people in the trans-abled community. These are people who are physically able-bodied but feel like they should be disabled or identify as such. For example, a man who has two arms but feels like he should have one. If a man in this kind of marginalized community went to the doctor and said, I want to have my arm cut off, do you think that...
That doesn't have anything to do with gender identity.
Well, it's someone's self-identity, how someone identifies.
That's someone who has and I'll accept it as a mental diagnosis, a psychiatric condition. I don't even pretend to know what aptomenophilia is all about, but somehow it's the idea that you're fascinated or charmed by having a limb or part of a limb missing. Okay, I would say that's, pardon my non-medical language, kooky.
You don't see any? You think this is totally irrelevant?
Yep.
There's something wrong in someone's head. And so obviously there's something wrong psychologically where you're having trouble accepting your body, who you actually are, then what you need is psychological help. It's just that, it is, and I was pretty floored by that. Just have that written off as well. It's just, that's weird. And so that's why we don't do that. Well, okay, if a man comes in and says that he wants to have his genitals mutilated in pursuit of looking more like a woman, what would we say about that? I mean, of course, there's the connection here. It's sort of the logical conclusion of the leftist sexual agenda. What happens when we become unmoored from truth, unmoored from reality, from our moral tradition, and we took the rabbit hole all the way down in the film. So I want to play this clip from What is a Woman, which is available now at whatiswoman.com. You can become a subscriber and watch, but here it is, watch.
So now we are seeing kids that are identifying as animals going to school, and they are purring instead of answering questions, and they meow, and the teachers are not allowed to question it because it's considered a queer identity.
So you have kids that are going to school and they're saying, I'm a cat, and the teachers have to affirm them as a cat.
Yes. So it's
the
not
schools
just
are
the
like
young
literal zoos now, basically.
They are.
I am a 27-year-old transgender woman. I am a wolf-therian and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you discover this inner wolfness?
Probably around age 10 or 11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen, and I'm somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous also. What context are you?
So I was a volunteer with a preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Are you able to communicate with the wolves?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of this wolf communication?
No. I'm not comfortable doing so.
Okay, all right.
A few years from now, someone, I don't know if it's going to be me, but someone's going to have to make a film called What is a Human? Because this trans species stuff, this is not just a fringe fad, outlier type of thing. This, as we heard from Sarah Stockton, who's the therapist in the first part of that clip, this is a very common thing. And she's not the only one saying that. We hear from people that work in the schools, therapists that feel like they can speak out without having their careers destroyed, that this is a thing now. Kids, this is what kids are doing. And it's like, well, and of course kids are doing that. When you tell kids that, hey, you can be whatever you want to be, your identity's up to you, of course a lot of them are going to say, oh, well, I'm a wolf, or I'm a whatever, I'm a monkey. And usually, in a sane society, kids pretending to be animals, as long as they're kids. Now, the person we were talking to there, was it Wolf-therian, not a kid, that's an adult. But for kids pretending to be animals, usually it's, my own kids do that sometimes. My 2-year-old runs around pretending to be an animal. And that's perfectly fine. That's using your imagination. Except that we don't live in a sane society. And so now we latch on to that and say, okay, well, that's who you are now. That's your identity. That's not just a game. That's who you are.
And I put a halt to that. I said, no. There was no evaluation. They were just going to do it right away.
Promoting that.
What?
That's a phalloplasty. That's a bottom surgery.